Good morning, everyone. It's Stephen and Andrea from Pin in the Atlas. And today, where are we?
We're at Montezuma Castle in Arizona, which is a Native American castle built in the side of the rocks. So let's go in, pay our $10 and check it out.
Sounds good.
So, because we've got our annual America the Beautiful pass, it didn't cost us anything. These are great to have. They're $80. They last 12 months. And you get them from any park ranger place. And you can get into any national monument or park throughout the whole of the US. That's national parks, by the way. So there you go. And now we're on a 1/3 of a mile loop trail to see the castle. So the castle was built over 1,000 years ago by the Sinagua people, which were pre-Columbian. Now, apparently it's 5 stories high. There's over 35 rooms, and the whole area used to house about 125 people. So that was including all the families. And let's take a look. So the castle is built 500 feet above the valley floor. And the reason for this, they believe, number of reasons actually. One was to stay clear of any floods that happened on the floodplain, because all of this is floodplains, but also for safety purposes against animals and other intruders.
All right, here's a different view. See, there's like a cave going in there. And then just underneath, you can see all those other spots. Those are more rooms. So apparently you used to be able to get up in there. There's ladder systems that you could go and climb and explore in there. But obviously due to degradation and, you know, people like to vandal and scratch on things. So they quit doing that. But this is still quite a good view. All right, if you guys can see here, a little bit difficult to tell on the camera, but there's a ledge there. You can see some of the little cave-like openings. This was the other castle. You can see some of the stone foundations here. It kind of goes up along here to all these little rooms that just go down inside the mountain. Here's another view closer to the base. And you can see just kind of weathering and things like that have taken their toll on this site. But it is pretty remarkable. All right, everyone, found another sign, and this has some photos of when they used to have ladders here. Here, I'll come back. So if you'd like to, you can pause and read all this. With a place like this, you can see behind me, you kind of wonder why anybody would want to leave. It's pretty remarkable, and they put a lot of work into building this. But they do believe that they left around in the 1400s. And there are many reasons why they think they could have left. It could have been warring with other tribes, depletion of resources, disease, any number of things. But they really aren't sure the exact reason why everyone left.
So going to any Native American site, nothing would be complete without your fry bread. So I hope you've enjoyed Montezuma Castle. We're going to head on now to Montezuma Well. So join us. See you in a bit.
Get a look at that view over there. Those clouds. Pretty unique. Where are we heading to now?
Montezuma Well. It's a 1/3 of a mile paved trail. So let's take a look.
we have arrived at the top. Directly in front of us in this overlook, you can see that there's 2 dwellings right in that little pocket of rock there that they've built up with some stones and things. And over here to the right is the main attraction. This is what you've been waiting for, Montezuma Well. Now they say it holds about 15 million gallons of water. 1.5 million of those gallons of water do drain off daily into a little creek. Back over this direction behind the wall, it's called Beaver Creek.
So we're continuing down the stairs to the bottom so we can actually get a good look at this well. Now this well was used for irrigation purposes, and it was inhabited between 1100 and 1400 AD. So for several hundred years, the people lived here and farmed here. You have to remember to stay on the trail because there are snakes around, so don't want to disturb them.
All right, now we're just a little bit above water level, and here you can see where it drains out. And it rejoins with Beaver Creek. You can see here's a better angle. Look, and it seems this is where it disappears back underground. Completely dry. There's where it goes back, and you can hear it too. Sounds like a waterfall. Now we're gonna head back up these steps. You see all the lush vegetation around here. No wonder why they settled in this location.
So bats have also taken up residence here in the cave down here. But if you look to the left, you can see the stone house.
Yeah, and it just goes down. And then back over here, there's another opening for a room. I'm sure this goes back a ways.
And then up on the rock here, you've got some graffiti dated 1818, I should say. Photos of this rock. Oh, photos of this by Rothrock Phoenix, 1818. So there's a zoom up of that graffiti. And then further along, some more caves. You can hear people in the background coming down. But further along, there's even more graffiti, dated 1891. See if I can zoom in on that. There we are. And then further along still, 1896. And look at all of these dwellings, or ruins of the dwellings, I should say. And continuing down, we've actually come to the end of the trail. So it's just a one way in and one way out. But here's just to show the well itself. And to the right, the remainder of the dwellings. Now, unfortunately, they've actually closed this area off, but this is where the well dumps all the water, and this is now Beaver Creek, and you can see the water See if I can zoom in. Down there's another runoff, and that runs into the creek. So there you have it.
All right, one last little stop at Montezuma Well. It's the remains of a pit house. It was quite large. So this was another type of a dwelling. You can see down along the perimeter, poles, wooden poles were in there. And then in the middle, there's some more. And then they also did have a fire pit in here. So that was another type of a dwelling. You see they had, oh, here we go. That's what it could have looked like. And see they had a hole in the top for the smoke to come out. Very ingenious people. That guy's crazy. That's a pretty neat magic trick, huh? So this was a decent size. And it was occupied around 1050. So a little bit before they started occupying the well, which is just up in that direction there. So what do you think of this place?
I think this place is pretty cool. Not quite what I expected. We couldn't find anything out about the pit house until we actually got here and read the sign. There wasn't any information about it on in the leaflet. But yeah, I couldn't begin to imagine having a family or several families living in somewhere like this with a fire and your everyday life with privacy or lack of privacy. Pretty amazing. But the indigenous people were very amazing people, all of them, all the tribes.
Oh yeah. We could learn a lot from them. So, where are we off to next?
The hat trick. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look that one up and get back to you guys.
Tiggy goots or something.
Something like that. We'll put the proper spelling in the indication below.
So, we'll see you there.
Okay, everyone, here's the final stop of our trifecta of national monuments. And which one is this?
This is Tuzi Goot. Funny name, Tuzi Goot. And this was built 1,000 years ago by the Sinagua people. It's a village. So let's go in and look. So this Sinagua village was built 120 feet above the Verde Valley, and it had over 90 rooms. It was 2 stories high, and the only way to access it was with ladders. It's a good sign. Take nothing but pictures and leave only footprints. Always remember that.
All right, on this sign, I'm gonna kind of zoom in a little bit. There you can see Flagstaff at the top. In the bottom left corner, it's color coordinated, and it shows you like triangle, square, and the circle shapes, and then the stop sign shape at the bottom. Color coordinated, those are all pueblos around this area, and the different colors represent how many rooms they had. So that kind of gives you an idea about how many people settled in this area.
So as the population grew, so did the pueblo, and it grew over centuries. So they kept adding and adding more rooms and more buildings.
All right, here we go. There's a little picture depicting of what these would have looked like when they were occupied. So again, I'll hold it as steady as possible so you can pause and read through all this if you wish to. Alright, here we are, kind of at the corner in the base. Gives you a little bit of scale. Like I said, that was about 2 stories tall at one point in time. Would have been quite amazing to have seen this completely constructed.
So here you can see the lower stories, and then if I move round, this would be the upper stories. Notice how there are no kind of doors or anything, so they would have climbed in with ladders to access everything.
Now, obviously, as impressive as this is, they do have to do upkeep to keep it looking the way it does. But unfortunately, in the early days, when they did some of the upkeep, because the walls, the floors, a lot of things collapsed, they put cement in with the rocks. And anybody that knows anything about cement knows that it holds moisture, it can crack, and then also expand a bit, which causes more failure. So now, with the preservation techniques, they go back through, take some of the cement away, and put a soil mixture back in to help protect it and preserve it for future generations. All right, these steps here go up to what archaeologists referred to as the citadel room. You can walk through, they kind of reconstructed the roof and to give people an idea of what the actual rooms would have or could have looked like. Unfortunately, they had a very harsh winter with a lot of water damaged, and so the roof and the room and everything is unsafe to go into, so they've got to rebuild it. So at this moment in time, as you can see, it's 100% closed off. We even tried to get a sneak peek of what's inside, but unfortunately, they really blocked the view.
So here's the view from the top of the castle. Just over there is the small town of Cottonwood, and as we pan round, the town just at the top here is the ghost town of Jerome, which is an exciting place. But what a view. And there you've got some sort of factory or aggregates, or maybe mining, not sure what that is. So we've since found out that over there is a copper mine, and all of the hills that you see, the smaller hills in the foreground, they're all tailing piles, and it's still mined today.
All right, we found the one and only doorway here on the entire site, and this doorway opened up to a plaza. We recognize plazas today as like shopping malls. So they were places where they would gather, share food, supplies, things like that, and ceremonies. Back over on this side, we're getting ready to wrap up. We're looking out over at this view, and we noticed, looks like there's some remnants of a few more rooms down there. We don't see a way to get down there, and we don't know what they are. There's no reference to them anywhere that we can see. Did you see anything?
Unless they're the only outdoor rooms, so we can go down and well, see how far we can get.
Okay. Once again, check out this amazing view that they had over here. We did find another pathway. It leads off this direction, and coming down, we've seen a few of these, like grinding stones. They've placed them in the center of the rooms. This one does have a rock on top of it. Don't know if it's supposed to be like a mortar and pestle or whatnot, because those are normally, rounded depressions in the rocks. So, not quite sure what that is. Okay, so, as the sign says, we have reached the end of the trail. So we must return. And once again, here's a good view of the entire setting. I mean, look at the rooms and the height on it. I mean, even just, they're decent size. So if this was in downtown LA, you know, these rooms would be like $1,600 a month.
And also what you've got to remember is this was once just one big pile of rubble. The archaeologists excavated back in the 1930s and rebuilt a lot of this. So
Now at the top, we've seen this trail going off in the other direction. So we decided to come take a look. And it's quite unique.
yes, it is, because mammoths and camels used to roam this area thousands of years ago, and they have actually found skeletons and remains fossilized. So all of this area at one point was water.
How long ago did the water dry up?
By 10,000 years ago, the camels and the mammoth were all gone, and so was the water. Well, the water as it was. Obviously, there is still water today, but nowhere near the same amount. You can see because of the lushness of the grass.
Here's the end of the walkway to the marshland overlook.
So there's still a fair amount of water. I mean, nothing like the river was 10,000 years ago, but they do still have a fair amount of wildlife here. There are beavers that make beaver dams, and obviously a lot of bird life and water life too.
Largest freshwater marsh away from the Colorado. Okay, everybody, that concludes our tour of the old Sinagua homesteads.
We hope you've enjoyed it. Now get out there, go and explore, put another pin in the atlas, and we will see you on our next adventure. Bye.